I ask you to stand with me for both the injured and the lost. I ask you to keep count with me of all the violence and what it has cost. I ask you to be silent with me, quietly grateful for our lot, as I expect you're as thankful as me for the health and life we've got. I ask that you wish them well with me, all those still risking their all. And I ask that you remember with me the names of those that fall. I expect that you're proud like me of this great nation of ours too. So enjoying all its freedoms like me, support those upholding them for you. I hope that you're hopeful like me that we'll soon bring an end to violence, so you'll have to stand no more with me, and mourning friends no different from yours. So then be thankful you can stand with me, thinking of those who now cannot. For standing here today with me, at least will show they're not forgotten. Thank you.
What we do here this morning by joining our community, our university, and various policing agents of the area is that we join those organizations and groups to others who will gather in other communities throughout this week in observance of the National Police Officers Memorial Day. The event dates back to 1962, so we've been at this for quite a while, when then President John F. Kennedy issued a decree that the day, and now a week, should be observed. Since we gathered here last May, there have been particularly horrific, headline-grabbing acts of violence across our country. There have been mass shootings in Aurora, Colorado, and Sandy Hook, Connecticut. In Texas, West Virginia, and Colorado, law enforcement agents were ambushed and murdered in their homes. And then, as we can all vividly recall more recently, a police officer in a university setting similar to our own was shot in his car by the perpetrators of the Boston bombings. And then, as a result, countless others were called into duty in most difficult circumstances. It has been quite a year. The family, friends, and co-workers of those who were killed face a long process of putting their lives back together again. And the rest of us are left to pay our deepest respects and to work to ensure that nothing like these events ever happens again. We have our work cut out for us. But that is what we do today. While we take time to honor the fallen, we also celebrate the dedication, the commitment, the skill, the sacrifice of those who continue on. Yours is most challenging work. It is a tremendous task. And we want you to know that as a university, as a community, as a state, and a nation, we are most grateful to you all. Will you please join me in a moment of quiet reverence. Holy God, we offer our thanks to those who serve and protect us. We ask your strength and your peace to be with them as they carry out what at times can be most difficult and dangerous work. We especially want to remember those who have made the greatest sacrifice, that of their very lives during the past year. Assure those whose lives have been touched most directly by these people's death that the sacrifice was not made in vain, nor will it ever be forgotten. We ask for courage, wisdom, strength, and vision so that all of us can stand together against forces of violence and hatred, greed, intolerance, and terror. Help us to find ways to bring to an end the senseless violence which seems to have infected our country, to deal creatively with issues of mental health, along with all the other factors which cause some to break the law. And finally, we ask for your blessing upon those who stand in uniform among us this day, and upon their families. Protect them as they carry out their duties, serving on behalf of all of us. And together, may we all do justice, live with kindness, and walk humbly with you and one another. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Good morning. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks and support to the families and friends of those officers we honor and remember today, and to their fellow officers who are here from around the state. As you look around today, you see many different uniforms and law enforcement agencies represented. But there is a sense of unity here, a special spirit that ties us together. I'm privileged to have joined the Big Rapids Department of Public Safety law enforcement family on this day of remembrance, as we honor the men and women who have given their lives in the service and protection of their fellow citizens. By the very nature of their calling, law enforcement officers willingly and without hesitation put their lives on the line in the service to others. Their courage, training, and dedication help keep us safe, even though they put themselves in harm's way. Their selfless acts of courage are demonstrated time and time again. Bravery and vigilance are constant traits of those who wear the badge, whether it's stopping criminal acts of violence or rescuing those caught in a blizzard or flood. There's a courage that is so constant and commonplace, many take it for granted, and that is something that we will not do. Each year in May, we witness this gathering of law enforcement officers from all around the state, from agencies large and small, urban and rural. Wherever you come from, you are here this morning in a show of compassion and solidarity for your fellow officers who are no longer with us and for their families. Remembering the loved ones lost from around the state and country, when the pipes and the drums play and the salute is fired, our hearts are deeply moved. Yes, moved in sadness through the pain and the loss, but also moved by the knowledge that on our behalf, these officers gave the last full measure. Each day, those who have taken an oath as a law enforcement officer demonstrate their willingness to lay their lives on the line to put the safety of others first, ahead of their own well-being. But the nature of what law enforcement officers do, how the safety and well-being of others is paramount, and how they run to danger when everyone else is running from it, all but ensures that there will be those who give their lives in the line of duty. A great example at the Boston Marathon, I'm sure you've all seen it played over and over again, the camera that focused on the finish line. You can see an elderly man 50 yards from the finish line. And in slow motion, as the explosion of the first bomb goes off, you can see that man's legs crumble underneath him as he lays on the pavement. And then in slow motion, you see 3 uniformed officers sprinting from the finish line towards that gentleman to help him, not knowing there's another bomb about to go off. This ceremony stands as a reminder that in every decade and in every generation, there are those who take on the responsibility for the safety of society. Quietly and without fanfare, they face danger every day to protect us. They came from many different agencies, the common tie that binds not only them together, but also binds together all law enforcement across our state and nation, is that these guardians of peace were dedicated to the cause of upholding the law. When they took that oath, swearing to uphold the Constitution, they made a commitment and dedicated their lives to act on behalf of their fellow citizens. And they made this commitment knowing full well that it might someday require the ultimate sacrifice. Today we pay special honor to those who made that sacrifice. As the citizens protected by their courage and vigilance, we need to take the time to say thank you to those who stand between us and harm. We also need to say thank you to the families represented here today. We can show thanks not only by saying it, but by recognizing the challenges faced by the men and women who wear the badge, and then supporting them in what they do to protect us. May God bless and protect not only our country and our state, but also bless and protect all those who wear the badge so that we may be safe. For this, we thank you. Now, I want to thank a special group here also, extremely important people who help make it possible for us to do our jobs. And this group's probably going to be very angry for me calling them out like this, but it's important that they know how much we appreciate all they do for us, and I'm certain every police officer over here will agree. And these folks are administrative staff. From Big Rapids Department of Public Safety, Nancy Height. Nancy, please raise your hand over here. 39 years with our department, and I believe I'm the 8th director she's trained. From Ferris State University, June Swanson. Where are you, June? Please raise your hand. June. Julie Courtney, please raise your hand. Carla Hatfield. I know she's here. And also Kim Piles. From the Costa County Sheriff's Department, Katie Nostrand. Katie? Not here, but also very appreciative of their efforts. From the Michigan State Police, Diane Getz from the Reed City Post, Colleen Crawford, Lakeview, and Terry Salaker, Mount Pleasant. What I'd like to do now is read a poem before I read the names of the fallen officers. This poem is titled The Final Inspection, and the author is unknown. The policeman stood and faced his God, which must always come to pass. He hoped his shoes were shining just as brightly as his brass. Step forward now, policeman. How shall I deal with you? Have you always turned the other cheek to my church? Have you been true? The policeman squared his shoulders and said, No, Lord, I guess I ain't. Because those of us who carry badges can't always be a saint. I've had to work most Sundays, and at times my talk was rough. And sometimes I've been violent because the streets are awfully tough. But I've never took a penny that wasn't mine to keep, though I worked a lot of overtime when the bills got just too steep. And I've never passed a cry for help, though at times I shook with fear. And sometimes, God forgive me, I wept unmanly tears. I know I don't deserve a place among the people here. They never wanted me around except to calm their fear. If you a place for me here, Lord, it needn't be so grand. I never expected or had too much, but if you don't, I'll understand. There was silence all around the throne where the saints had often trod, as the policeman waited quietly for the judgment of his God. Step forward now, policeman. You've borne the burdens well. Come walk a beat on heaven's streets. You've done your time in hell. Since we last met, last May, these are those that have fallen from our state. On June 24th, 2012, Officer Celine Hollis shot and killed in the line of duty in Denver, Colorado. She was formerly a Detroit police officer. September 9th, 2012, Sergeant Patrick O'Rourke, West Bloomfield, shot and killed in the line of duty. January 15th, 2013, Officer Bill Kamitz, Cadillac Police Department, died in the line of duty from a heart attack. Thank you.